Thanks for joining us for another edition of InfoHub In-Depth. Airports play a considerable role in economic development. Guyana's geographic location on the northern shoulder of South America provides an ideal location to develop a regional hub or international hub. Recognizing this, the government has embarked on the expansion of the CJIA International Airport to create an international hub for aircraft movement. This project is on the move and will soon be completed.
In 2011, a U.S. $150 million contract was inked with China Harbor Engineering for the expansion of the CJIA International Airport. In 2015, a newly elected coalition government mandated Minister of Public Infrastructure, David Patterson, to review the expansion project under a different model than the one previously presented. 2 years later, the project is on schedule for a December 2018 completion. During a tour of the airport in January this year, President David Granger underlined the rich history of the area before it was transformed into the CJIA.
This area was given to the United States by Britain about 75 years ago in the trade-off between Britain traded bases for battleships. So this is one of the bases that was given to the United States. And the aircraft coming from North Africa to go to the United States with the dead and wounded would land here. But more important, that aircraft would take off from here to protect the bauxite ships, taking bauxite from Mackenzie to Chaguaramas to build airplanes for the Americans to help to win the war. So Guyana played a very important role, and this was called Atkinson Field. When I was very young, I'm almost the same age as the airport. You actually had to get a permit to come into this airport. Madivini, there was a physical gate, and you could only come in if you got a permit from civil aviation, because this was American property in perpetuity. Luckily, in 1966, when it became independent, it was given back to Guyanese as an independent gift. But it was a very important base in the Second World War, and most of the buildings you saw around here were made of pine, which was imported from the United States. Unfortunately, the main air terminal building was burned down in 1959. So a little hut was used across the way. I think it's now used by the fire station. And when the government changed in 1964, for the first time Guyana got a new terminal building. And this basically is the first significant change to the terminal building that was constructed in 1968. So we're standing on history, and this is no longer an airport to protect the bauxite convoys. It's no longer an airport to allow transshipment of American wounded from North Africa. This is the entry point for a modern state.
The head of state said this infrastructure is crucial for Guyana's development, especially with the emerging oil and gas sector and advancement of the Green State Development Strategy.
This is not an ornamental project. This is very functional, and it is central to the future development of our country. It is the gateway to the Green State, and I hope people bear that in mind when they're choosing the murals. It's the gateway to the Green State, and it must show the character of the country, and also it must promise to move people not only from the Caribbean to Guyana, but to the rest of South America. From a functional point of view, a major problem in Guyana is the absence of adequate infrastructure. And many people do not come to Guyana because it is very bothersome to come to Guyana because there are few direct flights, and people don't like to go to Barbados or Trinidad to wait to come to Guyana. Similarly, people who are trying to flee Guyana tend to go to Suriname or some other place to get to another destination. When I say flee, I mean leave Guyana, sorry. So it's very functional. Now that we are embarking on a major new industry, the petroleum industry, people will want to come in here in greater numbers, and it is very important that they should be able to coming to Guyana at a modern airport. In due course, we should be able to time the arrival of every visitor, or put it another way, we should be able to ensure that the visitor spends no longer than 10 minutes at this airport, from the time he lands to the time he's in a taxi going to Georgetown. We need an efficient service, Mr. Gear. So by the time somebody lands, here, they must be able to be on their way as quickly as possible. Of course, making sure that there are all the security checks in place. So this is a very important development for us today. I welcome the cooperation with the People's Republic of China.
The upgraded airport caters for the inclusion of several state-of-the-art facilities and amenities to enhance the airport's capacity to improve passengers' experience, expand and extend the runway to satisfy international requirements for large aircraft, landing and operating out of CJIA, and modernize the terminal. Minister of Public Infrastructure David Patterson said this is evidence of good value for money invested.
In 2015, when the administration, when I assumed the helm of the ministry, we had paid out more money than the percentage of work done. If you understand that, so you mean you paid out 70% of the money and you're only 30% physical progress on the ground. So as the Guyanese finances, both done Ghana falls. So what we had to do is ensure that the project can be engineered to ensure that we have value for money and completed. Because the first thing the cabinet has said to me is that you can complete the project, but provided the value, the project cost does not increase.
Another significant feature will see the airport outfitted with a security fence. Minister Patterson said this, along with other minor works, will be done through supplementary funding.
This is a living, dynamic project, right? So when there's, obviously you've seen outside, we have plans for a commercial space outside, shops and kiosks, concessionaires in open. So that obviously is not within this contract. So obviously, at some point in time, I'd have to get funding for that. There's we have a tender out for the roundabout. We're just waiting on the utilities to be relocated. That's at the head of the road. So obviously, and then obviously there's a road connecting that to the new thing. So those are not in the existing China Harbor's contract. So progressively, we're going to make the outside, the external side, land side of the airport more user, customer friendly. So obviously that will require more funds, but that's not budgeted and that's not in the China Harbor's contract. But in the end, you can't just have a world-class terminal, you must have a world-class ambience and feeling. So there will be opportunities for the normal Guyanese to have a kiosk and so that persons could sample our really local, genuine cuisine. We haven't put a cost to that, we haven't put a time frame to that. Obviously, as we it is my hope that when at the end of the year, when this terminal building and runway is completely open and operational, I can progressively address the external. We may need more parking, we may need more beautification, more landscaping on the land side. So all of that will come with time. So that's where the money is, not for the terminal building. We have to do we will have to do fencing. You understand, you notice that we would have increased the length of the runway both sides. Obviously for security purposes, we'd have to fence it and make it secure. Maybe have some surveillance cameras and those things like that. Obviously that costs us money. But obviously that's not in the current contract. That may have to be done. The fence may have to be done sooner rather than later.
The government is cognizant of the importance of international airports to economic development and has worked consistently to bring tangible improvements at CJIA. Budget 2018 has provision of $5 billion for the completion of this project. The airport's expansion is part of government's commitment since its assumption to office in 2015 to create a more integrated infrastructure in Guyana, Minister Patterson said.
The economic fortune and future of Guyana
will be predicted on the ability to improve, modernize, and expand the country's infrastructure. This requires timely planning and implementation of our projects, which are key to achieving our developmental goals, which will enable us to continue on the journey to a good life. Mr. Speaker, the government of Guyana is committed to the continuing development of the country's infrastructure. Work on the airport expansion project continued in 2017. The final completion and commissioning of this facility will take place in 2018, with the newer arrivals hall being set to be completed in the first quarter 2018. The rehabilitated departure terminal aimed for completion shortly after. Notably, the extension of the runway to the northeast will be completed by December 2017, while the completion of the southwest runway extension will be completed by December 2018. Sir, I have to say a little bit of that, sir. The one area in the southeast runway experienced some slippages, and for safety reasons, we have asked the contractor to come from the foundation all the way up on that particular section, just to ensure that we receive a good project.
Amidst challenges, work on the project advanced, and by the end of January 2018, the multi-million-dollar venture was at the third fixed stage. Minister Patterson explained that this is the phase where the final aspects of the project are being completed.
We are at the stage which is about what we would call the third fixed stage. First fix is the hard, when we foundations and those things. Second fix is when we put in the wirings, the cables and conduits and so. And the third fix is where we're now going into the finishes. So obviously, for a project this big, we do not want to, at the end when we're about to open, somebody says we should have a mural there or a shadow picture there, and we have to put holes in our finished product. That looks like a lack of planning. So we decided it's good to bring you here. I know several ministers would have, on occasion, privately made suggestions.
A significant portion of the project was completed during this period, including the construction of the northeastern runway pavement and relocation of residents. Project manager Carmichael Thorne outlined the other works' status.
Under the area of the runway, the northeast runway, all the pavement work is complete, and the contractor is mobilized to do the marking and the grooving of this runway. So all of the pavement and the infrastructure work are finished. It's now just to put on the markings to show how that will be used. With the southwest, this is a bit behind the northeast, and it's about 65% completed, and this will run right onto the end of the work. Under the heading Apron and Taxiway, we have both the apron and taxiway are significantly advanced. They're slated to be completed in March, the end of March. And this is the area that will house the large-size aircraft. It's just beyond the arrivals terminal. And we'll be able to see it when we walk along the boarding bridge on the tour. Coming to the terminal building. The terminal building consists of 4 parts. You have the new fire pump station with the tanks, the diesel generator room. These are almost completed. You have the equipment are installed and so on. They have some finishing works to be completed, such as the fencing and the access road to these facilities that are now in progress. Under the new arrivals terminal, which we will tour shortly, it's about 75% completed. The major equipment are in, the conveyors, the elevator, the escalator, and so on. So now it's to continue with the finishes and the sequence of these works. The existing terminal is behind, and this is because of all the challenges that are posed in doing a rehabilitation and maintaining the use of a facility at the same time. And to note here, the rehabilitation is not just cosmetic. We're changing in the existing terminal, all the system, the electrical, the plumbing, the communication system are all being changed out. the roofing. So it's a significant scope of rehabilitation while maintaining the airport operation at the same time.
Economic development is often linked with infrastructure development, which means that airports further the development of the economies of the surrounding regions. The modern CJIA International Airport will not only keep Guyana on par with other nations in the Caribbean and South America, but will also spur transformative development.
In addition to the high passenger influx prior to the modernization work, the airport faced other challenges. CJIA's project manager Carmichael Thorne said the project is geared at addressing 4 critical issues.
There was insufficient public parking. As you can see, during the peak hours there, some of the cars were along the actual roadway spilling out from the car park. Within the terminal itself, there was overcrowding. On the international apron, there were conflicts between parking of aircrafts at the same time. So if you had 3 or 4 flights on the ground at the same time, there were issues with them navigating the apron. And finally, there is the runway itself was not sufficiently large to permit the larger aircraft, and also, more importantly, it did not present a safety area in the event that there was an overshot, as is shown in this picture here. In the new runway, there will be a safety area in the event of an overshot that will prevent the kind of accident that we had before.
As it relates to the scope of modernization, part of the plan includes the preservation of the existing artwork at CJIA. This has already begun, and the other pieces of artwork will be added throughout this stage of the project. Thorne explained.
The airport hosts a number of important pieces of artwork. So part of our plan includes for the preservation of the existing artwork, which are shown at the top here. So some of the work have already begun, and the others will progress with the works. So as an area is outfitted, these artwork will be preserved and replaced in a suitable position. Also, the contractor, in his scope of works, will add some new pieces of work. For example, and these are just the proposal, the local artist will determine, together with the National Trust and the ministry responsible, what the actual artwork looks like. But from our just general proposal, one of the pieces, for example, that goes into the new arrival building is a piece that depicts all the historical sites in Guyana. You have a piece that depicts all the festivals that we have. Just upon arrival, there will be a piece of the Kaito Fall. So as the visitors come, this is the first piece that they will see. Across the baggage area, there will be a sign with the gateway to South America with the colors of the flag. So this will go right across the new arrivals building in the baggage makeup area. And also there will be some decorative pieces. For example, you have the palms in the check-in area, some wooden carvings in the check-in area, and you have some wooden sculpture in the duty-free area. And just to emphasize, all of these will be done by local artists, our artists in collaboration with the National Trust of Guyana.
Job creation and economic growth are related. The successful operation of a modern economy is based on a significant majority of adult citizens earning the income they need to survive through the work they do. CJIA is part of the aviation industry, which has been creating thousands of jobs for Guyanese in this regard. During her 2018 budget presentation, Minister within the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, Annette Ferguson, boasted of the number of employment the aviation sector has created.
Recent 2017 study by Oxford Economics shows that the economic impact on the aviation sector in Guyana is substantial, representing 3.2% of Guyana's total GDP in 2015, and creates approximately 12,000 Guyanese jobs. This, sir, accounts for nearly 1 in 20 jobs in Guyana.
The aviation sector is on the rise and is now closer to achieving Category 1 status from the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration. The sector has made significant progress in resolving safety oversight deficiencies and improving the effective implementation of ICAO standards and recommended practices. The minister noted that the government will continue to pump into the sector.
In an effort to guide the continued transformation and modernization of the aviation sector, work on the development of a national aviation master plan has commenced and will advance in 2018. The overall purpose of the proposed project is to improve the quality of the aviation oversight in Guyana and to develop a master plan for the structured development of civil aviation development over the next 2 decades in Guyana. Sir, a sum of $90.3 million Guyana dollars from the IDB has been allocated in 2018 budget for this project.
Meanwhile, the CJIA expansion project has seen some 500 Guyanese benefiting from jobs. During 2017 alone, 271 Guyanese laborers worked on the airport expansion project along with 151 Chinese nationals. Chief Executive Officer of CJIA, Ramesh Gir.
In terms of labor, the contract has a requirement there, a minimum number of Guyanese nationals to be employed. To date, we have 151 Chinese nationals and Guyanese 271 on the project. We anticipate these numbers going to be bumped up during the year when we really start to move into a lot more work in the terminal building and on the runway. It's projected that we'll get at least 500 Guyanese nationals in the project by the end of December.
The expansion project is geared towards attracting more traffic to the airport. The CJIA is also looking to attract larger airline carriers to the airport. The airport has already benefited in this regard. The first quarter of 2018 saw the highest ever recorded passenger movement at CJIA. However, with a modern airport come the challenges of security, health and adequate customer staffing. Gir said that management has taken these into consideration and has already begun putting systems in place.
In the aviation industry, we do a lot of training. So we have our own training department with 10 staff who we do in-house training. You'll see from this slide here, during the year, 656 persons were trained. And this is the breakdown of the various categories of training: security induction, recertification, security awareness. Everyone that comes to the airport to work, you have to have that security awareness training. Recovery. With the use of our CCTV system, we've been able to recover during the year at least 33 missing items. So you'll get complaints. People miss the passport, the laptop, iPads. So normally we'll use the CCTV to track to see if we can identify what happened. We've also benefited this year from 2 trace detectors. These are explosive trace detectors. And actually, it came in timely because of the new requirement for travelers with your personal electronic device. We have to do random checks, and then if you're a selected passenger, you have to be swabbed. Our equipment have to go through this particular equipment. So Guyana was able to easily meet the standard without affecting passengers. It means that you don't have to put your laptop in your checked luggage. You could actually carry it in your handpiece. We also bought a walk-through metal detector this year, and you'll get some detail here. We've added several CCTV cameras in our car park across our temporary arrival building.
The airport currently has a staff of 270 employees, with 60 more being recruited in anticipation of the needs of the airport. In addition, customer service training sessions are conducted at frequent intervals. The corporation is particularly working to improve efficiency and compliance. As stipulated by regulations in November 2017, the airport staged a full-scale emergency exercise during the evening on the aerodrome.
This is a requirement. Every 2 years we have to do a full-scale emergency exercise. And every year, or the year between the 2 years, we have to do a tabletop. So this was a simulation of a crash, an aircraft crash in the night, and about 300 persons would have partake in that exercise. Of course, the GDF Ministry of Health, the airport, Civil Aviation Authority, Civil Defense Commission will be part of that. We also got our airdrome certificate, and this is important for us on a yearly basis. It basically shows that we are in compliance with the International Civil Aviation Organization requirements, both in terms of the operation and in terms of the security. We've met the standards.
The project was due for completion in December 2017. However, the technical team had several obstacles to overcome. Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, Jeffrey Vaughan, spoke about these challenges.
We know we have the passenger peak season will be on us shortly. We have the August and we have the December. So we've already been speaking with the air services and also the airline personnel and also the contractor so that we don't have any disruption during these periods.
At the end of the project, a roundabout similar to the one at Blessingen and Carifesta Avenue will also be constructed outside the airport to reduce traffic congestion and to allow for a faster exit from the airport zone.
With the CJIA expansion project on the brink of its completion and Guyana preparing for the oil and gas industry while pursuing a green economy, there is no doubt that the country will become one of the most sought-after investment destinations in the Caribbean and South America.
The newly upgraded CJIA International Airport, CJIA, will boast new boarding bridges, among many other features, when the expansion works are completed at the end of 2018. Recently, the boarding corridor and one of the boarding bridges were successfully tested by CJIA's Engineering and Technical Department staffers. The new bridges can accommodate all sizes of aircraft. These new features were well received by several departing passengers.
This is wonderful. I love it. It's amazing. We are progressing. Thank you.
It looks fantastic. I'm glad this is. I think this is the first one. So glad to be on it. Yeah, it's a big moment for Guyana.
Well, it's nice to be back, and the progress is phenomenal. So looking forward back again.
It's a day that we looked forward to with hope and optimism. And I want to congratulate the CJIA International Airport Corporation for their work to bring this forward. I want to also congratulate the government of Guyana and the people of Guyana for believing in this dream and working together collectively to give us a wonderful new airport and jetways. I feel excited. I'm happy to be here just by chance to be here again to serve. And I want to say to everyone who is thinking of traveling, choose the CJIA International Airport. And when you do so, we will be happy to serve you. I've worked around the airport since 1992, and today is really a dream come true.
As Guyana prepares for the oil and gas industry while pursuing a green economy, there is no doubt that the country will become one of the most sought-after investment destinations in the Caribbean and South America. The modern CJIA International Airport will therefore become the gateway to the new developed Guyana.
This brings us to the end of another program of InfoHub In-Depth. Thanks for watching, and do join us again next time.